Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Book Nerd Author Agency podcast. And this is Neha Raj, your book marketing girl. And this time we are here back with another guest. And she has been a marketer. She has worked with Penguin. And now she's working for an app called Fables. So, hi, Garima. Welcome to Book Nerd Author Agency podcast.
Hi Neha, thank you so much for inviting me. Pleasure to be here.
Great. So we'll directly jump into the conversation. So if you do let us know, how was your transition from Penguin to this app, Fable, and do let us know everyone about this app. What is this app about?
Hmm. All right. So many people don't get to say that, what they're doing is a dream job. I got to do that. As an avid reader, as a person interested in marketing and storytelling, I got to, live my fantasy dream job with Penguin. For almost 2.5 years, I got a chance to, lead the marketing for the Southeast Asia region, interact with readers, authors, and do all of that. So the idea of letting go of your dream job, it's a very tough thing to do, right? I mean, especially when you've like just been promoted, things are like really happening because now you have that idea of the market and all of that. And all of a sudden, life throws you a curveball and you realize that, oh, okay, I need to take a step back and maybe not work for a while and just, like space myself. And I think that's what happened last summer is when I had with this idea. "Acha, okay, I mean, gotta take a pause, gotta hit reset and see what I want to do next. And that's when I actually took a break for about a couple of months. I turned 25 and I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to have a quarter life crisis. And what do people do when they have a quarter life crisis? I don't know. But what I did was I started writing and I started writing on LinkedIn. I started sharing about my journey, my early career, everything that I've been through, about, what actually it is like to work in publishing and, all fun stuff. Which is when I just realized that I don't want to just, leave publishing behind. I still want to be in the industry, do something that is perhaps publishing adjacent, but also try something new because there's only so many books you can market at one point of time. Do feel a little saturated. Even dream jobs, they are jobs at the end of the day, right? So you do feel a bit saturated. And I was like, it's a good time, when you take a pause from full-time work after you've done it for such a long time and you kind of relax and then reset and consider, okay, what do I want to do next? Is there anything that I've done before that I could not pursue pehle? What do I want to do? And it kind of took me back a few years ago, like right during COVID, the first round of COVID was when a friend and we came together to create a writing app just because we had a bit of time in our hand and we explored with that. And I was like, "Okay, app development is something I was interested in, but
Which app of that?
it's called it's called Yellow Coats Creator, YELLO. And it was a writing app for, people who just want to write and they don't want to get into the designing aspect of it. So we just made writing easy for anybody with, you know, the most basic smartphone. That was the idea, to make sure that our app runs on the most basic low-end devices so that anyone and everyone can use the features that we have to provide. It was a fun lockdown project, nothing out of it. But closer to mid of last year, we kind of ended up making a bit of money out of it as well. And it took 4 5 years for it to generate any source of income from that. And I realized, oh hey, I was interested in app marketing. Nothing happened there because I got into publishing and it was like a worldwide romance with your dreams job, which I did. And I was like, maybe I want to get back into app marketing. And it's like the stars aligned. Um I'd been using this app called Sable for about 2 summers by then. Sometime couple of years ago, I started a book club, and I realized it is a bit difficult to kind of manage and maintain your book club across social media and emails and all of that. And I was like,
Where you have started this book club?
it started online actually. I put up a story on Instagram saying that it was November 2022. Very random. I do things very randomly on Instagram. Is I just was like, guys, I'm gonna start a book club. Would you like to join? And a couple of close friends said yes. And then a lot of strangers said yes. And we are like a community of 22 people. Like we limit ourselves to 20 to 22 people because that's all I can manage as a book club by myself. We come together every 6 weeks to discuss a book. So every year we read 8 books. We don't do one book a month. That's too much. We do 8 books a year. We read different genres, different authors, and all of that. We bring a lot of variety to the whole thing. And but it is a bit difficult to stay in touch.
That meetup about a book club you were saying. So where did you start that? Like on Zoom or maybe some other app you had?
So yeah. Yes. We started it on Zoom. So we would coordinate the meetings. I would send emails that we're meeting on this day for the discussion. And I'd send like a Google Meet invite. And still date, we do meet on Google Meet. And we have leaders from across India. We have a user from Pakistan who's a good friend. And at one point, we had users like leaders from England as well. Because again, friends of friends. That is how the entire thing worked out. Friends of friends. But after a few months, I realized that it is difficult to like get everybody on up to date about what's happening when we're meeting next. Even when I'm sending emails, a lot of people would just end out on missing emails, which were like, I was like, okay, fine, is there a solution to it? And it's like, again, very randomly, I think summer of 2023, 1 year almost after we had the book club, I just came across this app called Fable. And I was like, it's downloaded because it was being marketed as an app for book clubs and communities. I was like, okay, this sounds, it sounds like it's solving a problem for me. I just want an app dedicated, or I watched the solution dedicated for this. Um, Got it, downloaded it, liked it, referred it to my club members. I was like, I think I want to use this. Let's use this and pick it Coursera. And it did. It did. It's like it's a very streamlined method to just, send all communication to chapter-wise discussions and all of that. And you've kept using it for over, 2 years now. So I mean, all of that, using the app, getting to know what's happening on the app, watching the app evolve, because it's a new app. So a lot of features came in back then. A lot of so many things were introduced. Seeing A and B testing and all, and we were part of it and did not even know what's happening. It was just all fun and games until then. But it's like, all this backstory brings me to the point that last year, August 2025, I was on this journey where I was like, oh, I'm turning 25 in August 2025. What am I doing with my life right now? Quit my dream job. What's next? And I was like, I'll write. It was a very simple, holistic plan that for 25 days straight, I'll write and celebrate, personal, professional milestones. And it was happening on LinkedIn. It kind of encouraged people in my network also to share their journeys, because they were like, oh, we like it to doing, we also do it. And that's how it started. Um, I know you just have a light bulb moment. I was like, I like this app, and any which way, creating content on LinkedIn and all of that, and I'm using this platform for network better. Why don't I perhaps shoot a DM to the CEO? I slid into her DMs. I just said that, hey, I've been using it for a couple of summers. I really like it. But by at that point, a lot of marketing promotions and the whole thing, it was happening for the US and UK market primarily, as it happened with a lot of apps. And I was like, I like it. I know people in Asia who are using it, but there's not a lot of representation for us. And I think, Asia is an important market. I mean, you should consider, and I think I would love to help. And the CEO, Miss Padma, she was kind enough to just share her email, and she was like, hey, if you have some ideas, why don't you share it here? And usually I do not like making presentations. Like, I mean, that would be the last thing I would want to do, even if I'm getting paid for it. But I was like, okay, let me take this chance and let me put all my storytelling creativity into a presentation. Let's do that. And I did that. I sent her an email with some ideas that I had about, what could we be doing, or what could the app be doing on social media and within the app itself to appeal more to users in India, South Asia. These markets primarily because I'm familiar with them. India because I'm based out of here, Southeast Asia because my previous work was there. So I think it was like a good thing that just ticked off the boxes there. I got an opportunity to speak with, some of the key stakeholders in the company, present my ideas. And by the end of the conversation, the CEO was like, can you join us? And would you like to help us out with it? And I was like, okay, let's.
Can you here tell us about the process? I mean, how many days did you guys take? I mean, that team has take to understand, who got your mail, and then fixed up a call with you and listen to your ideas. How was that process?
So this is their previous life experiences help, because I've had an opportunity to work directly with CEOs and founders in my previous work positions. I kind of had an idea of how much strapped for time the person would be, right? And what would they want to hear from a pitch note, right? They wouldn't want to know about the app because they already do. They also wouldn't want to know how much I know the app, because I mean, I wouldn't reach out to them if I didn't know that. But they would want to know the solutions that I have to present, right? So I think after that LinkedIn DM where she sent her email to me, and I was like, okay, I'll send. It was, I think it was shared with me over a weekend. So I was like, and I wanted to be like, oh, I'll send you a plan tomorrow. I was like, no, take your time, take your time. No, don't just jump into it, please. I was like, I'll send it to you in a couple of days. I sat down, created the PPT, sent it to her. And then I did not hear back from her for a couple of days. Because I did not hear back from her, I sent her a LinkedIn DM again, which is when she told me that, she's traveling and she connect me with her team, which then she did. She responded to the certain points I had presented, what they think they can do, what they don't think is feasible for them to do right now, because my plans are very lofty, because I saw Asia as the next big market for US. And she connected me with other people from the team who then promptly organized a team call. I think the entire process from sending her the DM to speaking with the team, it took about a month's time. Only because it's also a time difference team, right? It's US. Most of the teams based out of the US, so it's like time differences. And after I joined the team, I also realized that so much happens within a couple of weeks, because the young startup company, everybody is doing more than they can do to bring this really good app to the users. um it takes time, and it also just made me appreciate that they took out the time to kind of listen to what I had to share, kind of get on board with the idea that, oh yeah, Asia is the next market to focus on. And they were also timely enough to, they were also thinking about doing something like it. So I came, all the stars aligned with me sending them the DM and the whole thing working out. So I win give it a luck.
They were already in India or they started with you in India? How was that?
They were working with a single or a couple of creators in India very sporadically, just to for content creation on social media, for content creation collabs. And I mean, they had tapped into the market just a little bit, but they were not like full fledged. They were not full fledgedly exploring the market.
On Instagram, na, in stories or maybe somewhere, I have seen the ads of Fable, and that's how I also downloaded the app. So, do let us know how the book communities, I mean, book communities are there, how they are going to benefit out of it. Do you think any scope in that? Like, for example, I'll take the example of a Goodreads. Goodreads also have a huge community, and definitely Fable is just starting in, and I'm sure they have a fantastic future. But how communities are maintaining on Goodreads is a huge community from every part of the world. If you So what about Fable? I mean, the book communities who are working, but definitely in a segregated way. You were saying you were having issues, right? Conducting your offline book club. So if they want to conduct and start their own book club on Fable, can they do that?
In many ways, every user has a different use for it, right? Someone like me who wanted to solve for a communication problem about how do I bring my entire book club in one place, it served as a community app. For readers who are looking for a social media experience where the entire platform is just talking about books, and to an extent TV shows, it helps them with that. And there are certain users who are looking for tracking their stats to see what they're reading, how much they're reading, how many pages they're reading, or what genres they're reading, and insights into the tracking. That is what the app solves for. Specifically talking about the communities that are present on the app, you can find a book club for almost most of the popular trending books out there. It's very holistic. You just need to sign up, create a profile, become a moderator, launch your own book club. I think you could set up your book club in less than 5 minutes once you download the app and all of that. Beyond that, you can also find relevant communities of interest for you, relevant book clubs, and now you also have PD clubs of interest for you. You can look by genre, you can look by language, you can look by particular topics, and you'll be able to find a lot of book clubs that are simultaneously discussing the particular book that you're interested in. And you can join any book club as long as it's a public book club. You can join any of them, be a part of the discussion. A lot of clubs, they all do an online offline thing, which is that the club is online and they also meet offline in person. Or there are clubs that do an online thing, that is that active on Fable, and simultaneously then they meet online on virtual calls to discuss whatever the book they're discussing. And the fun fact is, like when I started the book club, or I like brought my book club to Fable, it was just for the 20-22 people that as a club we have at a time. But right now, our club on Fable has about 189 readers. That's like 189 members, and they're across the globe. And the fun thing is, we kind of share the meeting link, telling them, it's a time difference is a thing, because a lot of users are not based out of India, and like huge time differences. But we still, send the link saying that, guys, we're meeting on this day. In case the timing works for you, you can join us. And a few of them do. So we've had random people join our book club meetings where, a bunch of 22 people who know each other, and then a couple of random strangers come together to discuss the book. And it's been a very holistic, enriching experience that books in a way unite you so together so beautifully, and an app has been able to do that. So I mean, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
So, apart from Fable, what do you think are the modern trends of marketing the book? What are the like opportunities or maybe modern trends if we anyone has to market the book? And me myself being a book marketer, and I'm also writing a book on it on the same topic. So I am keep talking to people like you who have expertise in their own fields, and that actually gave me a lot of opportunities and ideas to write down in my book. So I'm also doing my simultaneously research. So you tell me, like, what would be the marketing trends in book if for the future?
Yeah. I mean, marketing has evolved a lot in the last few years, in the last couple of years, majority. Um, you know, COVID had a big impact on publishing as a whole, or world as a whole, that a lot of opportunities and interactions shifted online. And then in 2022 is when we started seeing the shift that, oh, people are open to the idea of coming to offline book launches and events and all of that. 2024 is when it like really picked up speed, and 2025 is like you see these amazing festivals, events, and all of that happening. So readers are moving towards offline in-person experiences. So the current thing that is really working in book marketing is tapping into communities, tapping into relevant communities that keep meeting together. There's like actual FaceTime amongst members of the community, and they're coming together to perhaps discuss a book or an author or something like that. Um, yes, you can do a lot of social media marketing. You can do performance marketing. You can run ads. You can do peer collaborations. You can do organic collaborations. You can do an entire author tour. You could get amazing publicity, press, online, digital, print media, and all of that. Amazing. But this is something we keep telling authors in publishing is word of mouth matters a lot. So I mean, nobody would be able to convince another reader to pick your book than a reader who has enjoyed it. Because if I end up liking a book, I am recommending it to every person I know that.
Was that right? That user generated, then they were really in, because when the user is really creating the content, and there is no biased opinion about it, because reader is a reader, right? अगर उनको book पसंद आती है, they will say good. I mean, even if it's last day I just posted a book cover. It's a very beautiful book, and it has a very, I mean, it's about saffron history, and it has a very purple cute flower, the saffron flower, and so that's how I got attracted towards the book. So yes, that's my opinion about the book cover. But there are readers who get into the details about the content, about the character. If you have it, they really get emotional about it. And that's how, yeah, user generated content is really important these days.
Yes, it is. It is. The perception that an influencer, or particularly in books, that a bookish content creator or book influencer talking about your book is going to make or break it. The point is that then every author has that single idea, and every publicist has that same idea, and every marketer has the same idea. And that creator can only create so much content, and they can only recommend, so many books as, oh, this is my favorite book, and this is my favorite book, and this is my favorite. It's not humanly possible, and it's also not fair to them. Just because they enjoy a particular genre of books, they start receiving all the poop copies for that particular genre just because they've showed interest in that. What has changed as a trend is people, the small micro content creators who are really passionate about the books they read, the genres they read, in the communities that they are a part of. They are kind of, they're kind of setting a new trend. And I personally believe that readers are not realizing the powers they have in influencing, where are the books being sold, at what price. For that matter, readers don't realize that their reading choices and the reading or the buying trends determine at what price will a book in a particular genre be sold for, in paperback or hardcover. And the choices also determine what the book cover is going to look like. That is the power of readers. Only if they just become enlightened of the fact that publishers are,
I think they are not aware of how valuable their content opinion is. And because we also conducted offline events, and it's been, I think, more than 200 events we have done. So we keep meeting, purely who are reader, who are nothing to do with the industry. They don't know anything, who is a publisher. Sometimes they don't know. उनको books and And when they actually give the feedback, na, we really value that. We understand कि अरे इन्होंने ये वाला book पढ़ा है. I just go back and look at that book because that opinion really matters. So any of your recommendation, would you like to give book recommendations? Any of your favorites, or currently you are reading something, maybe couple of books?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Tough job. Okay. I was not ready for this question, though I know this is an expected question. I'll share what I'm reading currently, and I'm reading a lot of books actually. I'm reading this book called Water Moon, and I'm unable to. I think the author's name is Samantha, but I don't know the last name. It's a new book. It came out in Jan 2025 itself. It's a lovely book about a pawn shop wherein people who think they're stepping into a ramen shop to get some ramen, but because there's something else happening in their life, they end up at a pawn shop where they can trade their choices. So they can actually, maybe they've made a choice that they're guilty about, or they were unable to make a choice back in the day, and that's eating them like they can trade that choice for some kind of solution or something. But then a robbery happens at that shop, and the entire book is about that. And I think I read almost 250 pages of that book on Holi because I didn't celebrate Holi. I was like, I'm too old for that. So I read the book that day, 250 pages in one go. So it's a really interesting read so far. Beyond that, I'm reading Human Acts by Han Kang. That is a book club pick currently, and we're meeting next Sunday to discuss it. So that's happening, and it's a very raw and emotional book. So read the trigger warnings if you're okay with reading something that that deep. Um, I'm also reading Rag Darbari because this is my year of getting back to Hindi literature. So I was like, let me be reading something in this sense also. And I'm rereading Letters to a Young Poet. I like that book, and I just keep rereading it or revisiting it every 4 to 5 months. Like it has some beautiful, beautiful quotes, and it's a very thin book. And it is a kind of book that tells you it's not about the content in the book, but the context in which you are reading it. So every time I read it, it's the same lines and marks, but I'm reading it from a different context. So I think these very abstract 4 different books if you're in the mood for any of them.
Right. So, Garima, you have worked with many international authors also. So, do you have any advice for Indian authors? Because many Indians are writing a book. And have you taken any, takeaway from, marketing international books and working with international authors? Do you think any one advice for Indian authors that would change the marketing game?
Hmm. Yeah. There is a lot of awareness in authors outside of India about the role that they themselves play in the marketing and publicity of it. Like, I have seen a lot of authors in India as well who are able to drum up good publicity and marketing for the book. But, it's an attitude thing that, here only a few authors are cognizant about the fact, whereas internationally, every single author, irrespective if they're getting self published or they're getting published by a smaller print or they're getting published by a big five publisher, all of them are really cognizant of the fact that, they have to play an active and essential role in, marketing their book being out there. And fun fact is, marketing of your book does not start 3 months before pub date or 6 months before pub date. Marketing of your book starts as soon as you decide, oh, I'm going to be an author. Oh, I'm going to send in the manuscript. I'm going to get, it's going to get picked for publishing and all of that. That is when it starts, Um, it's more of a muscle for authors that they need to realize that marketing is a muscle and they need to keep pressing on it and keep trying whatever works for them to go out there and do the whole thing. Being shy does not get you anywhere. We have made bestsellers out of books in Southeast Asia, where we were able to convince the author that for the genre that you're targeting and the audience that you've written this book for, they are on social media and you need to be on social media. So if you are looking for results, you need to be where your audience is. So if it's social media, you need to be there. If your audience is a little mature demographic and they're gonna be more likely at festivals and these literary fests and all of that, then you need to be there too. So it's like tapping into who is your audience. I keep preaching the same message what you have just said, so that all the authors just listen to what Garima just has said. I also, elaborately, I just say the same. Whether your book is old or new, it's just you are an author. Now it is your responsibility to market the book. We can be the we can show you the way. These are the ways you can market the book. Then go to a literary events, or maybe you go to different book launches. It's not about your book launch all the time, your literary panel all the time. It's not evident you have to be on the stage. You can attend others events too and do the networking, because that will also benefit. I really keep telling my authors, and
to be honest, many of my authors followed these instructions. I will not say instructions, just a guidance, and they really get benefit out of it. I'm not saying every author to whom I'm working with is a bestseller. It's not about being a bestseller one time, two, three time, or five times. It's just about being consistent, keep marketing your book, because content will never be old. If you have written something, that will definitely relate to the target audience. But yes, I agree with you, Garima, that they should know their target audience. One, see, I also did a blunder. And initially, when I started this in 2015, so 2016, I got one virtual session, and that author said he just go through my book and conduct a session in a public. So I was very new to the industry. I was not aware about. I didn't read the book that time. और मैंने उनका स्कूल में conduct कर दिया, and that book was not at all appropriate for the school audience. And when the screen opens and she saw school kids, then she mold fake in a certain manner, but उसके बाद जो bashing मिला है मुझे,
No.
आई ऑल्सो लर्न कि भाई देखो शुरू में हो जाता है कभी-कभी कि हम लोग बिना पढ़े एक सेशन कर देते हैं प्रेशर में कि सेशन करना ही। वी कोऑर्डिनेटेड एवरीथिंग बट डिडंट इट टर्न्ड आउट वेरी बैड। So thanks a lot, Garima, for being on our podcast. We really love the conversation, and definitely I'll tell the audience to take a lot of takeaways from this session, and just keep marketing your book and try to use Swable. It really helps all the authors and communities and readers too. I mean, not restricted to authors only. And so here we can close the session. Any last message would you like to say to the book nerds community?
Message to them. I think you guys are in the right place. If you love books, if you like conversations around books, and you wanted to come from an authentic place, you guys have found your place and you found a good community to be here. So yeah, love you guys.
Thank you, everyone. So this was Garima Bhatt, and we will be coming back with another podcast with another guest. Thank you, and keep reading till then.